May God's peace, mercy and blessings be upon you. My name is Muhammad. New video and a new story. But before starting, don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Let's begin. Beyond the Wall. The events of this story revolve around a young man called Muhammad Lashin. Muhammad is a young man who has just graduated from the university, where he was studying at the Faculty of Education, English department. Like other young men, Muhammad began looking for a job opportunity in one of the private schools located near the governorate of his residence, which is Minya Governorate. Unfortunately, he did not find a job. Muhammad was able to find a job. Muhammad searched in the neighboring governorates but did not find anything. Muhammad decided in the end to do any job that would earn him money until he found the job that he had always dreamed of. As Muhammad was very attached to the teaching profession, Muhammad was able to get a job in a restaurant. Muhammad was working in the restaurant and at the same time looking for a suitable private school to work in. The situation remained as it was until a call came to Muhammad. The caller was his classmate Mustafa. Mustafa was able to find a private school, but it is in an area called Al-Ajami in Alexandria. Mustafa offered Muhammad to come to work with him in the same school. Mustafa knew full well that Muhammad was looking for a suitable job opportunity in a private school. Immediately Muhammad's response was not delayed and he agreed to travel to Alexandria. By some miracle, Muhammad was able to travel to Alexandria, and when he arrived there, he met the school principal, who did not mind having Muhammad work in the school. Muhammad was very happy, but there remained one problem related to housing. Mustafa offered Muhammad to go to one of the old apartments, which was a price. The rent is simple, and at the same time it is close to the school. The apartment was very old and covered in dirt, and it was also full of old pictures of some artists that Muhammad may not know. In the first place, Muhammad used to go to school in the morning and in the evening he would clean the apartment. The cleaning process continued for 3 days. On Wednesday night, while Muhammad was holding the broom to clean the last remnants of the apartment, he heard the sound of old Oriental music. In fact, Muhammad felt a little happy to the point that he started swaying to the music. The sound was very quiet but at the same time clear. Muhammad finished cleaning and he went to bed and fell into a deep sleep. Suddenly, Muhammad heard the sound of something approaching him. Muhammad looked in front of him and found a woman crawling on the ground heading towards him. Muhammad woke up from his sleep in horror and thanked God that what he saw was only a dream. But there was something very suspicious and disturbing. The sound of Oriental music became so loud that it prevented Muhammad from sleeping. Muhammad decided to go outside to find out where the sound of the music was coming from. But as soon as Muhammad opened the door, the sounds appeared. In the end, Muhammad returned to continue his sleep. The next day the same thing happened. The sound of the music was quiet before sleep. Muhammad went to sleep, but this time the girl crawling on the ground approached Muhammad's ear and began to whisper in his ears, Muhammad was unable to hear her, so she screamed in his ear, making him wake up terrified. This was a very bitter nightmare. The sound of music that had been quiet a short while ago had become noisy. The strange thing is that if Muhammad opens the door to see the source of the music disappears, and if he returns inside, the music returns again. Muhammad decided to go the next morning to get to know the residents of the building in which he lives, and at the same time to know the source of that sound. After research, when he knocked on the doors, Muhammad discovered that the residential building had only 3 apartments with residents. When he knocked on the door of the first apartment, a housewife answered and told him that her husband was at work and would return in the afternoon. The second apartment respondent was a young girl who refused to open the door and said that her parents were not home. The third apartment belonged to an old lady called Monira. Mrs. Monira invited Muhammad to come in and drink a cup of tea. Mrs. Monira seemed to be very kind, but her smiling, kind face changed its features when Muhammad asked about the source of the Oriental music he heard every night. Don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Subscribe to the channel, like the video and share your opinions in the comments. The lady began Monira shoots at Muhammad, saying, "Get out now." Muhammad left Mrs. Monira's apartment in amazement and went to school. In the evening, Muhammad decided not to sleep that night so that he would not see that girl who appeared to him in a dream. Suddenly, Muhammad heard Oriental music returning again. This time, Muhammad decided not to open the door and go out because the sound would disappear. This time, Muhammad noticed something suspicious. The sound seemed to be coming from inside the apartment and not from outside. Muhammad followed the sound and found it coming from the other room in the apartment, the room that Muhammad did not open, and he was content with just cleaning the room in which he was going to sleep. Muhammad entered the room and the sound of music disappeared. Inside the room, Muhammad found some old papers and a medium-sized picture of a girl who appeared to be a dancer from the picture. Muhammad took the picture and went to Mrs. Munira's apartment. This time, Mrs. Munira asked Muhammad to enter to her apartment to tell him the story of the picture. Munira told Muhammad that this girl is a dancer who suddenly disappeared and no one knew where she went. It was sad that she ran away with a man called Mansour. And you, Muhammad, are the first person to live in that apartment. After that dancer left, Muhammad did not find any useful information about what was happening to him. So he returned to the apartment. Muhammad was unable to stay up any longer, so he fell into a deep sleep. Muhammad saw the same girl in his dream, but this time the girl did not approach him, but rather pointed to the wall and left. Muhammad woke up from his sleep to see a large picture on the wall. Muhammad removed this picture. He found a large spot behind the picture. Muhammad decided to destroy the wall, and indeed Muhammad's suspicion was correct. As soon as Muhammad destroyed part of the wall, he saw a skeleton inside. As soon as the skeleton appeared, the electricity in the building was cut off. Muhammad was frightened and quickly headed to Mrs. Munira's apartment, but she did not answer him. Muhammad tried to return to his apartment, and he met a man on the stairs with a lamp. This man was the wife of the housewife whom Muhammad had spoken to 2 days ago. Muhammad took the lamp and told his neighbor to check on Mrs. Munira, as she was not answering. But Muhammad did not hear his neighbor saying, "Who is the lady Munira?" Muhammad returned to the apartment and completed the process of extracting the skeleton. Muhammad found some papers buried in the wall. The first paper was a letter written by that dancer. The dancer says, "Through this letter, I got married and had a desire to stop working, but my manager was forcing me to continue dancing. He was threatening to kill me if I stopped dancing. A week ago, my husband disappeared, and I am sure that the reason is my business manager. If you find this message, it means that I have passed away. Please report my business manager." And his full name is Riyad Abdurrauf. As for his address, I will leave it for you at the end the message. The other paper was a marriage contract with the husband's name Mansour Abdul Alim Muhammad and the wife's name Munira Abdul Fattah. Muhammad felt astonished and afraid. The blood froze in Muhammad's veins, and he did not know what to do. If the murdered dancer was Munira, then who was that woman who lived in the building? The police came and carried the body of Munira the dancer and placed it in the ambulance while Muhammad stood absent-mindedly, not knowing what was happening, and he received a call from his friend Mustafa. Muhammad answered in a sad voice, saying, "Hello Mustafa, how are you?" Mustafa said, "Where are you, my friend? You have been missing for 4 years and no one knows anything about you. Come on, I invite you to attend my engagement party in 2 days. Leave Minya Governorate for just 1 day, and don't forget your best friend. I will send you the address so you can come directly, and don't forget to the engagement party on the day next Friday." Muhammad felt that he was in another world. Who he met and who worked with him at school. There were many questions that Muhammad would never find an answer to. Today's story has ended. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to pray for the Prophet Muhammad. May God bless him and grant him peace. Subscribe to the channel, like the video and share your opinions in the comments.